This is Doofy McButterscotch. It's been a little while since I've done any videos, but I've been on Christmas break. I've been spending time with the family, and I've had some work to do as well. So I thought I'd finally get back, and I thought I'd do my very first top 10 list. So here we go. We're gonna be doing the top 10 worst games on the Game Boy Color. So, that I have played. Now, I know there's a lot of top 10 lists out there, but I think the only way to know truly if a game sucks is if you play it yourself. Because, I've heard a lot of bad reviews about Superman 64. I've never had an N64, so I can't comment on how bad it is, but I'm sure I can take the word that would be bad. But anyway, that's enough crapping on. I've played 22 Game Boy Color games, so roughly half of them are going to be in this top 10. So some of the worst ones are actually going to be good, but when we get to the top 3, then it's going to start getting real bad. But anyway, enough of that shit. Here we go. Number 10, The Muppets. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad game. It's just, it was never really one of my favorites as a kid. The game was, it was pretty brutal for a platformer. It had way too many levels. It had a lot of secret passageways, a lot of different things you could collect, and when I was playing that, I just couldn't get into it. There's good games where you go around and collect stuff, but this just, it failed on something. But it's by no means a horrible game. You can check it out. You might like it, but it just wasn't my thing. Number 9, Pokemon Pinball. Now, this is one of the first popular games on the list, but I didn't like it because I suck at pinball. And I'm into Pokemon. I like collecting them, but shit, it's hard as hell to find. It's just terrible. I can't play pinball games. I'll be right in the middle of catching like a Charmander, and then I'll lose a ball, and then it'll be game over. And some of the scores on there are insane. There's like one time where I beat one of the top 5 computer scores. I was just terrible at that game. I'm not a good pinball player. So, forgive me, Pokemon fanatics, but I just wasn't into Pokemon Pinball. It was just way too frustrating more than enjoyable. Number 8, Rats. This isn't a terrible game either, but it's just real repetitive in the level design. You've got like 4 main stages with like 30 levels in between. They change the background a little bit. You gotta go around and collect all the food and shoot some people with your BB gun, and every time you shoot them they become more and more powerful, which is different for a game. It'd be like in Mario, every time you step on a Goomba, then it grows wings. Then you step on it again, then it gets spikes, and then you're screwed. Then you have to get like a fireball or something. But it's pretty different, making enemies more powerful every time you defeat them. But yeah, it's a game you can get bored with pretty quickly, but it is a time waster. So you can get through a little bit of time if you're waiting for something. But it's not the greatest game ever, but it's not the most terrible either. Number 7, The Mummy Returns. Also not a terrible game. It had a lot of different stuff going for it. It had some platforming stuff, which wasn't terrible. it had some running stages where you had to outrun a flood or like a sandstorm or like a whole bunch of scarab beetles or something. And I think the thing that killed this game for me is the fighting stages. And you guys might know that fighting games on the Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance do not work out. Fighting games are meant for consoles on the big screen, not on the little screen. They do not work out very good unless it's Pokemon, which I don't know if you can count that as a fighting game. It's really different from that kind of formula, but it's a bunch of sword fighting, and it gets almost impossible to win. I mean, you have to button mash all the time, and it gets to the point where you get to like level 9 or whatever it is, and you play it. There's 2 sword stages which are unbeatable. I mean, they've got like 2 bosses on there which are just insane, and then you've got one other level where it's like can't remember what it is, but it's way easier than the other 2 options. So that's what killed this game for me, the sword fighting stages. Those were just awful, just terrible. Anyway, we're at number, let's see, what was it? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 6, Shrek Fairytale Beatdown. Now, I've seen a few of the top 10 worst Game Boy Color games, and this one's been on a few of them, so it's going to be on mine too. I've played it, but it is, as you guessed it, a fighting game. But it's not as terrible as some people might make it out. I mean, it's fairly simple. I mean, all you got to do is jump up, attack, and you're going to win. Every single time, all you gotta do is jump up into there, do a little elbow drop, and you're gonna win. So it's there's not a lot of strategy going into it. The combos are a little bit of a pain in the ass. The computers can spam them so many times. I mean, it's like a Ryu fireball every second. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you can try as hard as you want to spam out a move like that, a special move, but it's not possible. Only the computer can do it. Only the computer. But, yeah, and you can unlock characters as you play through, but of course, it doesn't save. So every time you turn off the Game Boy Color, you have to unlock every one of those characters again and again and again and again. So that's a little bit annoying too. And it's nowhere near the best fighting game I've ever played. I mean, I've played a lot of really good fighting games, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, stuff like that, even Soul Calibur, but this one is just not good. It sucks so bad, but it's not the worst. But we are getting there. We're getting there. So with that out of the way, number 5, The Lion King: Simba's Mighty Adventure. Ah shit! Part 2 coming up.